right? Everything's in here. How the recruiting businesses work, how the software companies work, how to build culture, how to give a meeting, how to train someone, how to hire someone, how to get the board, make sure the board's working for you versus you're working for the board, how to raise money, right? How do you find emerging markets? How do you tell, introverts they got to shut the fuck up once in a while, right? And tell extroverts they got to shut up too. Get these two people that don't really have anything in common to work together. How do you get educated people to work with non-educated people? And how do you get it once it gets going, not to blow it up, right? And then all the while, really focusing on concepts like building tribes, right? Tribes are very important, right? Tribes take care of each other, okay? I don't like cults. The Grateful Dead is not a cult or a tribe. And what we believe in is we believe in be kind. We believe in, if you get confused, to listen to the music play, AKA think for yourself. And lastly, don't litter. That's it, right? So, free will is a huge part because we don't believe in authoritarianism or anything like that. So, I've been on LinkedIn since 2003, okay, almost 20 years. I actually helped staff it in the early days when it was a startup. And it became very apparent that this was going to be the future because I was watching behavior get worse in like Reddit and the blogs and stuff like that. And this basically means that you've got to be a real person to be on this. Yeah. And number two, if you have a full-time job and you've got your company logo on there, you're at work if you're on this thing. Now that doesn't really apply to me because I'm my own boss and I'm a self-made man. When you look at a LinkedIn profile, okay, you always go down and read from the bottom up. Okay, you wouldn't watch a movie from the end. Okay, right? You wouldn't go into a Netflix series and put on the last episode and start going from 10 to 9 to 8. Okay, so you always want to see the origins of things. Okay, you also want to see how long it is, depending on how old the person is. Okay, so I've been building this with real opportunities and real jobs and real companies, and some of them matured where I want and some of them haven't, but for the most part it's batting close to 1,000. Okay, cool. So this was my first company that I worked at. This is Motion Recruitment, okay? I staffed and managed over 120 reps over 8 offices in New York, San Francisco, and San Jose. I was basically the Tom Brady of the organization, from a record-breaking standpoint, a cash standpoint. To give you an idea, I started here my first job at $16,000 an hour, I believe, or $18,000. It was $18,000 a year. I finished my first year at $39,000 I made, and then in year 2 I made $189,000. In year 3 I made $350,000. I was like 23, 24 in the 90s, right? And then obviously got up into the 500s and stuff like that. And then we did the whole .com boom. So a lot of what we were doing back there is most of the major companies that you now look as the major platforms, from the eBays to the Googles to the Salesforce, like we were staffing all those companies back in the day, especially when we were at Silicon Valley. And I really focused, my territories were New York and Silicon Valley. And I did a big stint in Los Angeles and Orange County. To give you an idea, I have lived in Pennsylvania, New York City, Boston, Los Angeles, Manhattan Beach, Laguna Beach, San Francisco, San Jose. I moved to London. I worked in London and built a software company there to open up EMEA. I lived in West 1. And I lived in Australia. And I've had brief stints in cities like Atlanta and Chicago and Miami over the years, but for the most part, the big ones are the ones I mentioned. And now, I currently reside here on the beach in LA. So when you look at these profiles, this was a very long, it was a 10-year stint. It was very hard for me to leave that company. I also then was leaving 120 reps to go manage 7, right? So I went down to go up, right? So scroll down a little bit. So this is Rapid7. This is a company we did, Bain Capital. I joined it when it was doing 4 million in sales. I left when it was doing 30 million. I think it's the last number I hit. And I think we had blown out at an incredible rate of hiring and stuff like that. When I was internal there, I helped build the internal recruiting team. I helped build the customer success team. I helped recruit for the engineering team. I helped get the Harvard guys to understand they needed to be more about sales and culture and less about spreadsheets. And ultimately, if you Google the Rapid7 Moose, I am the Rapid7 Moose. Period, full stop, right? I'm the only one who can tell you where that story originated from because I'm the one who invented it, okay? Ask anyone else there, where did it actually come from? They can't answer it because no one really knows. I'm the only one who knows. Scroll down. Okay. This was Exumit. This was my first startup that failed. I will rebuild it in one day, but this is where I learned that you can't really got to be 100% committed to do it. And this was a good idea, but the market moved away too fast. Basically, it was a way to rank companies on there. It'd be like, how you rank restaurants? It was going to be a way to rank companies, corporations, on how they do business, their business practices. We'll probably come back to this at some point. Go down. This is Flower Hired. This was the cannabis staffing company that we started when we got into cannabis. I retired around 39, was just going to do some recruiting. I had enough stuff going on. When cannabis went legal, I decided to get back in the market. I'd obviously sold a lot of cannabis when I was younger, and I knew how to build tech companies and stuff like that. Go down. I sold that. MigTech was a company that I did with my partner of many years, and I was the Mick, he was the Ick, and we did staffing and consulting, and we helped all these different companies here at some point get their sales teams going or exits. MindTouch, Backupify, Datto, ThreatStack, Home Team, OnShape, Cloud Health, and Ease. Get the point? Scroll down. Shannon Acres, this was the cannabis farm that I found and built out and turned a ranch into a farm. We ended up selling it in 2020. Ritual Drops, okay, is the wellness brand that I built. You actually look at it, it's the view of Malibu right here. Reason I did this is I had a very close person in my life actually be prescribed antidepressants and had to go to rehab and just got sicker. So I figured there had to be a better way to give people stuff to get them not to be so in so much pain. Go down. These guys right here are a client that we helped out. Go down. Delacorp is, I was hired to help scale that company and build ketamine clinics for depression. The company was eventually taken public on the Canadian Stock Exchange and then sold to another company. So that was a really good win. It's just going to take a while for people to really get into clinics and the numbers to be there. Go up. Go down. Go down. This is a recruiting company that I haven't gotten off the ground yet, but I will. It's a placeholder. Go down. Okay. Althea Entertainment. Althea Entertainment was a very interesting company. We only had one real big it had two real premises. One, we had these things called Friday sessions at our place up in Venice, and we would have the bands come play. It was really around networking and getting different types of people networking. Hollywood people with cannabis people with tech people, and getting them in a comfortable setting. At the same time, we were able to, with the help of Eric, the Sarge Poje, who helped fund it, pay Bob Weir from the Grateful Dead a very large sum of money to come down and play for us for an hour. The concept was to build an environment that the artists could have fun in. When Bob got there that day, I said, Bob, you don't have to play. I just wanted you to come hang out, right? And he said, what is this place? And I said, we built it for you. So at the end of the day, if the artist is really comfortable, the artist is going to put on a really good show and played for us for about 90 people. It was fun, to say the least. We will get back to this again at some other point. Go down. RBO Ventures was my first VC. I did it with some of my partners. We raised about $2 million in what's known as a special purpose vehicle and put it into the early Ease B round to get in. I think when Ease was valued in sub 100 million at that time. Go down. Okay. Go back up. No, go the other way. Hold on. Okay, come down. Okay. Candelabra Capital. Okay, this is my next large fund that will really be streaming off of the information that WeGo finds at its kind of spy level network. So this will be most of my 50s. I'm 48 now, so when I'm in my 50s, I'll probably just be running Candelabra Capital at that point as an investor. We focus on the 4 C's right now: cybersecurity, cannabis, crypto, and cartoons. Go down. Okay. Excel Wellness, that was the client we helped. This is Greenbox, is another client we helped. Okay, as you can see, all these things are Shield Diamond Love endeavors. Shield Diamond Love is the framework that I've developed. It's basically a way to help companies and/or individuals reprogram their risk analysis and prioritization to make them more powerful on a 3-step evolution from laws to rules to norms, the shield being the laws, the rules being the diamond, and the norms being the love. And we'll get into that more down the road after we get through some of more kind of the basic hard skills, because a lot of that is more about how you kind of put all the pieces together. Go down. Crypto hires. We will get to that. The crypto market's just a little funny right now. Going. It's a recruiting company. Live Fuego. That was our recreation brand. It actually stands for Fuck Your Ego. It was a very, very successful brand that we got out there until we had an incident in our lab where we had some theft occur that really jammed us up because we had built a lab up in King City called Elite Molecular. We were doing some of the first really early testing in labs that were legal and licensed. That was a really fun project. It's too bad some people screwed it up. But yeah. What's this? List of Pet. This was a pet company that we helped. Keep going down. MXB Networking. This is going to be an executive networking recruiting company. This is the Freak Brothers. So what happened with the Freak Brothers? So the Freak Brothers is a very old cartoon, an adult cartoon from the 60s written by a guy named Sheldon. And when we first got into cannabis, we started seeing that there were 2 major issues. And one issue was banking and regulation, and banking, and the other one was regulation. And specifically around things about, how do you market, how do you use the internet if you can't because it's federally illegal, how do you do all that stuff. So basically what we did is I met this gentleman who are Hollywood guys who had also bought a farm and couldn't figure out how to make money from it. And we basically came to the conclusion that if we made a cartoon and got it up and running, sold it to one of the major studios, and got them to advertise the company, we could then come back out and make everything from bongs to rolling papers to different types of brands, and not getting really in any trouble for it. So this is kind of one of the more genius ideas. If you look at Fox football games, you'll see the advertisements going on in the crowd. That takes that crowd to Sunday Night Animation Domination, which then drives it into the Tubi website, which is Fox's streaming service. And eventually, this will be promoted very hard in the Super Bowl this year and the World Cup. I'm the drug culture expert and life agent to the show. I obviously know how to build businesses. I also know a lot about the drug industry, so I kind of give the writers tips on kind of what to do and how to do it. Scroll down. This was my brief run for President of the United States that I did over the summer. I campaigned for about 3 months. Unfortunately, I have an injury right now to my eye, so I'm not doing a lot of campaigning. I also am convinced that there's actually nothing wrong with this country. I think the media is ping-ponging us, and the alt-right and the alt-left are basically trying to start a civil war, and we're being attacked at a World War III level by Saudi Arabia, Russia, and China, with a little bit of help from North Korea. But things seem to be getting better under the Biden administration, but we'll have to see what happens with Mr. Trump. So right now, I don't think they need me. So the Great Reset is on hold. That's a t-shirt. I am the Chief Marketing Officer and Chief People Officer for. This is basically a concept around merchandising and making t-shirts. One of the best books you can read in business is by a friend of mine, Dr. Barry Barnes. Everything I learned in business, I learned from the Grateful Dead. There's a huge section on here around merchandising. So that's something that we just got off the ground. We have a new CEO for that. He's raising some money. And that's a very, very good investment if people are interested in. We're basically going to be building a digital ad agency inside of it as well, with our own t-shirt printer, really getting out there. And the messages on the t-shirts are, they're either really funny, or they're a little bit aggressive, or there's a little bit of social commentary on there about what we think is going on in society, almost like at a Doonesbury comic level or a satire level or irony level. And there's a lot of weird shit going on in the world, like should a Supreme Court justice, his wife, be allowed to have a coup, and then the cases about the coup that come in front of the Supreme Court, he doesn't recuse himself. So we're making a t-shirt about that right now, which will be pretty funny. Okay, go down. MXB University, we've obviously talked about that. Online university for these guys, okay? And I think that's it. Go down. And then I'm the Chief Executive Officer of YouGo WeGo. So YouGo WeGo is a staffing and consulting business that also does reselling. Currently, right now, the consulting business is shut down because no one can afford me, unless you probably raise it like 27 or 30 million bucks. And you can afford NFL talent, which I am obviously NFL talent, even though my clients are always like, you charge too much. I'm like, no, I don't. The minute I touch your company, you're buying your exit. It's a lock, right? So that's really my profile. Go up to the top, okay? And that's LinkedIn. Okay, so LinkedIn's obviously one of the more important things that I own in my real estate. I appreciate them greatly because they don't throw me off the site, even when I get a little edgy, but I do understand the ULA. Okay? So, last part. What are we really talking about? Okay, we're going to be talking a lot over the next week about, this is the recruiting chapter for how to become a recruiter. So this is everything from the candidate side and the client side that we're going to go through to build your guys' recruiting skills up. Okay? This is the fastest way to make money, also with the fastest EBITDA. What does EBITDA stand for?
It stands for
earnings.
Earnings before interest taxes.
Very good. Good job. Okay. So that's really it. That's kind of the gist of what we're doing. The site will be open and free for a while on YouTube. Eventually it will go to a paid site. I don't think you need to go to college. I think you need to go to MXB University. It's a lot cheaper, the results are better, you'll make more money, you'll be happier, and then whatever dream you have, like I want to open up a Yorkie farm, okay, but I'm going to need a lot of money to go get 100 Yorkies, right? 100 Yorkies at $2,000 a pop, that's very expensive, right? So, and it's a lot of dog food, and it's a lot of people taking care of it, and you got to get netting, so like the eagles, some hawks don't come down and start snatching your Yorks. But, you got to go out and make a buck every day, right? So between this and your internships and your studying and the 250 movies that you have to watch, training videos, and the other candelabras that are going to come help, and we'll have, we have 5 so far, other professors who are candelabras who decided that they would come in and give some meetings. And then we have the other enrollees that are a little bit farther, in their year 2, year 3, year 4. It'll work. It always works. Everything I do works. That's why it's so good. And then you will learn how to become an entrepreneur, how you learn how to build companies, and then you can do it on your own. Okie dokie. Just as far as the future goes, if you like this stuff, please like it, please share it. Subscribe to, get in now, so you get grandfathered in to the YouTube channel, and there will be uploads going up every day. I could sit up here and give meetings for 8 hours a day, and I would still be up here giving meetings 8 hours a day, 3-4 years from now. That's how much content is in there, right? So, and then obviously, as you guys get up and running, the classes will get more interactive. Okay?
Okay.
Peace.